In Cleveland, gun violence is a significant problem, with statistics showing higher homicide rates and more emergency department visits for gunshot wounds compared to the national average. While some reports indicate a decrease in homicides in 2024 compared to 2023, gun violence continues to be a persistent issue affecting the city, according to reports. However, city officials are working to change that.
One of the things that is very important for us to understand is data can sometimes be skewed, but we got to also live in reality. I was born and raised in a central neighborhood in Ward 5, and I've experienced losing a lot of loved ones and friends to gun violence.
Councilman Starr says this is a big problem that requires big change.
You have to look at the real issues that are underlining and causing this gun violence to spike up. Within that 953 number, 825 African Americans have been killed over the last 6 years. So that is almost an 86-87% ratio of gun violence victims. So yes, we need to declare gun violence as a public health crisis in the city of Cleveland. And yes, we need to be proactive with our approach to try to end gun violence. This cannot be just one organization doing it on their own. We need to come together and come up and say enough is enough. Gun violence needs to end in our city.
Starr has garnered the support from community leaders who are literally on the front line.
The role of Cleveland Peacemakers is to work in community. The type of work is called community violence intervention. And what that means is that we work with communities, we work with systems to reduce the barriers that will cause someone to be at the highest risk of shooting or being shot.
Watkins works with families and victims of gun violence.
And some of that work is inside level 1 trauma centers like Metro Health System, University Hospital, as well as both juvenile justice and Cuyahoga County courts. But we also are a partner organization to MyCom Cleveland and CMSD to offer safe passages. So at schools where individuals are shot and killed at or around schools, to create a safe arrival and dismissal.
East Tech High School coach Michael Hardaway says he works his hardest to help students avoid violence on and off the field.
Especially in the Ward 5 community at the time, we were saying that it's easier for a kid to get a gun than it is to get a meal. And that's a problem. And I also think the one thing that we're leaving out is that we have to go after the gun manufacturer.
Community leaders agree with Starr that this will also take a collective community effort.
I think everybody is saying the parent, the neighborhood, but what about the gun manufacturer? They always, to me, get off light. How are these high-powered rifles getting into our community? That's the question. They're not going to the gun store buying them. So how is it that in cities like Detroit, Cleveland, and Chicago, these kids are having AR-15s, AK-47s? Where are they coming from? And I think that the gun manufacturers need to be held responsible for these guns trickling into sometimes these urban communities.
If I can just add, the Biden-Harris administration, when they had the Office of Gun Violence Prevention at the federal level, there was a historic drop in gun violence across our country at 13%. And because Deputy Director Greg Jackson at that time, they really did hold the NRA responsible. They went upstream and was saying, if this happens, then you have to pay, you have to be accountable.
Sierra Nelson, TV20.